Is it worth spending extra money to get the iPhone 8 Plus over the 7 Plus? Let's go ahead and find out. So both of these phones just upgrade to iOS 11. And of course the iPhone 8 Plus brand new just came out today, whereas the 7 Plus is 1 year old. Now the biggest difference is you have the A11 chipset in the 8 Plus versus the A10. And both phones 3GB of RAM, so the 8 Plus first one to boot up. And by a few seconds. So next up, let's go over the specs of both phones. 5.5 inch screens on both 1080p. Now the color tone on the 8 Plus will actually change depending on the environment that you're in. 7 megapixel front facing cameras on both. And on the back, both of them have 2 cameras, so the second camera is used for zoom. And both of them are 12 megapixels. Now the 8 Plus does have some advantages. For example, you can record in 4K mode at 60 frames per second. Now you're getting the latest A11 chipset in the 8 Plus versus last year's A10 and 7 Plus model. Both phones have 3GB of RAM. Internal storage on the 7 Plus either 32, 128, or 256 gigabytes. And on the 8 Plus it's either 64 or 256. Neither of the phones have microSD card support. Now the battery is actually smaller in the 8 Plus, 2675 versus 2900. Despite the size difference, Apple says the batteries are very similar in terms of performance. And on the 8 Plus you also have fast charging. Both phones have stereo speakers, and we'll be testing out later in the video. Now fingerprint scanner right here on both. And look at the bottom. So lightning port and no headphone jack on either one of these. And the sides. And one final look at the back. Metal build on the back of 7 Plus versus glass on the 8. And personally I like the way that the 8 looks more, but let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. And finally the 8 is capable of wireless charging because it does have a glass back. Moving on to the rest of the test. Alright guys, so all the apps closed out on both phones. And first up we have NBC News. And this one going pretty easily to the 8 Plus. iFunny. Again, 8 Plus here. And YouTube. Once again, 8 Plus here. So 8 Plus doing pretty well so far. Calculator. And clock. eBay. Very close on both. Now a few more apps to go to move on to more stuff, so Amazon next. Again, that was very close on both phones. And Photos. Once again, very, very close. Alright guys, so getting to more intense stuff, we have Modern Combat 5 first. So first up, 3 different games. And with the A11 versus A10, you should see more of a difference here. Actually, have to fast forward for this on both. Oops. Alright guys, I'm going to redo that because I pressed too slowly there on the 8. So once again, Modern Combat 5. And this one going to the 8, but still pretty close. Alright, Temple Run 2. And this one looks to be a pretty easy win here for the 8 Plus. Not much of a contest here. So pretty impressive right there. And Asphalt 8, so final game. And once again, the 8 Plus just for about a second though. Alright guys, next up we have Antutu. Now I actually ran this a couple times on the 8 Plus, and this is actually lower scored than the first time. The first time I got 221,000. But obviously guys, very, very impressive score here for the 8 Plus versus 169,000 for the 7 Plus. And I'll look at the rankings, so I have everything aside from the iPad Pro. So very impressive score there. Next up, let's test out the speakers, because you do have improved speakers here on the 8 Plus. So 7 Plus first. Eight Plus. Alright guys, let me know in the comment section what you think of the quality. Alright guys, so Chrome next, going to clear out the web history here on both phones. And let's close out, go back in. So we're visiting 4 different sites, and the first one is IGN. And it looks like this one's probably, this one going to the 8 Plus. Alright, IMDb.com next. IMDb. And again, we have the 8 Plus here. So 2 more, Zelda, and then Apple. Oops, actually including that too fast there on the 7 Plus. But it looked like that pretty easy would have went to the 8 Plus regardless. And final one, let's do Apple. And once again, 8 Plus here, so 8 Plus pretty easy way into web browsing. Let's do camera speed next, and just to be ironic, we're going to use this Android guy. So again, both these phones, 2 cameras on the back, 12 megapixels. And for now, testing out the speed, but we'll have actual comparisons later on. Live photos is off for both phones. Alright guys, so it looks about the same, extremely fast on both. Fingerprint scanner next, and the great thing about both these phones is they do have fingerprint scanners in an ideal place right here, whereas the upcoming 10 is not. And it looks like this is going to be a pretty easy win here for the 8 Plus. Yeah, noticeably faster here on the 8 Plus. So lastly, we have multitasking, and again, both these phones, 3 GB of RAM. So back towards the beginning, we have NBC News. And this usually refreshes, so it looks like this one going to the 8 Plus. Again, all the way back towards the beginning, iFunny. So we actually had a notice right there on the 8 Plus. But it doesn't affect the multitasking. Alright guys, next up YouTube. Once again, 8 Plus there. eBay. 8 Plus doing a really good job here, although 7 Plus doing a good job as well. Amazon. Really excellent on both. And let's do the more intense stuff. So first up, let's do Temple 2 and watch very closely because iOS displays a picture at first. So I think that was the 8 Plus, but pretty close on both. And 2 more games. Modern Combat 5. Let's do photos. 3 more with your camera. And then Chrome, and final one will be Asphalt 8. Chrome. And final one, Asphalt 8. And once again, look for moving pictures. So you're talking about a few milliseconds there on the 8 Plus. So all in all, obviously the 8 Plus is faster than the 7 Plus, but probably not worth an upgrade for most people. Apple's big phone for this year is of course the iPhone 10 coming out November 3rd, and that will have a redesigned screen that also costs a few $100s more than the 8 Plus. That said, the 10 and the 8 Plus have the same chipset, the A11, so performance may be similar on both phones, and I was pretty impressed with the performance overall for the 8 Plus. Lots more testing between these 2 phones, camera, battery, and more, and of course automated smartphones on the market. So if you aren't already, press right there to subscribe, or you can watch another video right now in the bottom right corner. And as always, thanks for watching.